Saskatchewan. Great to be back here for another year of the Canadian Football League, and quite a welcoming for the 2-0 Saskatchewan Roughriders hosting the Hamilton Tiger Cats, who will try to do Glenn Suter what Saskatchewan did to them in their home opener last week at Tim Hortons Field. What great quarterback play in the matchup a week ago. The veteran Bo Levi Mitchell, the veteran Trevor Harris, what a difference he's made to the Rider offense.
Yeah, unbelievable. The stat line is very impressive after 2 weeks in the regular season. Leading passer in the league is Trevor Harris, averaging 347 yards per game. And the most important number, you're right, 2-0. Bo Levi Mitchell hasn't got the wins, but he deserves better when you look at his numbers. Number 2 in the league after 2 weeks. Bo Levi Mitchell ranks second behind Harris. Very similar numbers. Two veteran quarterbacks going at it in this one tonight. It was really toe-to-toe. Felt like last possession would win that game last week. And they had that lead, and Hamilton couldn't hang on. It's Canadian Armed Forces Appreciation Night here at Mosaic Stadium. The 7th season for this stadium. It opened up July 1st, 2017. Scott Milanovich back into head coaching in the CFL. Successful run with the Toronto Argonauts, where he won a Grey Cup. Corey Mace, all about success with the Calgary Stampeders and also the Toronto Argonauts as defensive coordinator. And now a head coach for the first time, and yet to lose. Dramatic victories in the 4th quarter in both Edmonton and then in Hamilton last week. And there is the hero last week, one of them anyway, the final one, a 43-yard field goal to walk it off for Brett Lother. And a dramatic moment at Tim Hortons Field in the victory for Saskatchewan. Lawrence Woods is back for the kickoff. To get things started here and wrap up week number 3, we have seen some entertaining games so far this young season, and these two teams certainly put one on 1 week ago in Hamilton. The Riders have won the toss and deferred. On a Sunday night in Saskatchewan, we are underway, the Ticats. And the Riders again, it's Lawrence Woods, took it at the goal line. Breaks out to the right, tries to cut it back. And they've got him covered up, and the ball comes out. Ball's loose. Wait for the ruling. The Riders think they've got it. What a start this would be for the home side as they still try to sort it out. Saskatchewan football. Lawrence Woods coughed it up, and the Riders have it. Talk about engaging the Rider faithful in the home opener. Big hit on the special teams. The ball is definitely out before down by contact. That's a live football. The Riders jump on it and will start deep in Hamilton territory. Clearly out. They waited to sort it up, but you can see, yeah, that's in the hands of Christian Albright with the football. And Trevor Harris. And here it's a good place to start the opening drive right down around the Ticat 20. 1st and 10 Saskatchewan. Little toss, sweep, Sean Payne. The ball carrier, he was hurt last week, did not play in the second half after a 3-touchdown performance in week 1 against the Elks in Edmonton. Well, here's the stat line for Trevor Harris after 2 weeks, completing 71% of his passes, 695 yards, and touchdown interception ratio at 5-2. 300-yard games, both outings. Can he stack one more and improve that to 3 in a row? And that final drive, when they needed it most for the touchdown to tie it, with just under a minute to go when he hit Schaefer Baker again last week. 2nd and 4 now. Into the end zone. Touchdown just like that. Samuel Amelis. And the Riders make the Ticats pay right away after the fumble on the opening kickoff. Week 1, it was Sean Bain. Week 2 was Keon Schaefer Baker. And it's tonight the Sam Amelis night for this Rider offense. Trevor Harris has tons of time to scan the secondary, and Amelis actually goes down. He tripped, kept his concentration, and reeled it in. First touchdown for Sam Amelis. Talking about 3 touchdown performances. He had one a year ago from Trevor Harris against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers early in the season. He's got one there, and Lother on again right away for a point after try.
put down by Adam Korsak. So right through. So they deferred. They kicked off. They got the ball, and Corey Mace's Riders off to a great start in their home opener in 2024.
Take full advantage of sudden change and watch the concentration from Sam Emelis. He's that number 2 receiver into the boundary, little inside move. He comes out of his break here, stumbles, gets his balance, keeps concentration, and pulls in the touchdown throw from Harris. Harris has lots of time. He scans that wide side, the left side of the formation that he's looking at, comes all the way back to Emelis.
And that is the 6th touchdown pass thrown by Trevor Harris this season. Richard Leonard in coverage, but you're right, a good adjustment there by Emelis, who had stumbled and got the ball. And what a start. Just what they need back home here coming in. And another chance here for Lawrence Woods to make some amends. He could be a game breaker. He was their feature returner 2 years ago. Did it less when they had Tyreek McAllister last year.
Well, you know, you want to get the fans engaged in the home opener. You know, you come out of the gate, bring them out is how they do it here in Saskatchewan. It's pretty exciting here to get the crowd into it, and then a fumble and a score on the very next play. That'll do it.
And here's Woods again. Up to the 20, 25, and he slips, loses his footing, and wasn't touched, so he got up again. Adam O'Clair has them all wrapped up as he got it up to close to the 30-yard line. So now we get to see Bo Levi Mitchell, who passed for 380 yards, 3 touchdowns last week. The late interception that actually went off Tim White that led to the Ticats' loss.
Yeah, there's a similar numbers for Bo Levi Mitchell. The biggest difference, obviously, that one is the win-loss column. But when you look at the yards passing, touchdown interceptions, completion percentage, almost identical to Trevor Harris.
Well, fans love to get on Bo Levi Mitchell's case. That goes back to the Calgary days. And throwing it off in the first CFL catch, one of the new receivers, Desmond Patman. Patman had been with Scott Milanovich in Indianapolis, and he gets a taste of the action there. Milanovich high on this young receiver. Thinks he's going to be a very good CFL player. Young,
but a big target. You know, at 6'4", 225 out of Washington State. He's mentioned Coach Milanovich very familiar with him from being together in the past in the NFL, and the word he used was powerful. This guy can be a 1,000-yard receiver for sure.
Picks up a couple of yards there. It's a 2nd and 8 now for Mitchell. Nice, loud, crowded mosaic with the Ticat offense on the field. Pressure. Mitchell gets away and he dumps it off. He completes it to Stephen Dunbar. They hooked up for a big touchdown catch last week against the Riders. That is good enough for a first down, Hamilton.
Well, Mitchell threw for 380 yards last week. You know, and so that's what I mean about, you almost feel like if you're a Ticat fan, they deserve better than an 0-2 start. And I know people are reluctant to say it until Bo Levi Mitchell starts winning again, but I think he's back. I think he's back. He's seeing the field. He's got that quick release. It's there.
The Riders weren't able to sack Mitchell once last week. Got away and completed it there and here to James Tuck, the big fullback. Won a Grey Cup with the Montreal Alouettes last year. Gets it up across the 45 to set up a 2nd down.
Well, interesting story. Brendan Bordner and Quentin Barrow, the 2 rookie tackles. If sacks are how you judge an offensive line, they're pretty good to start the season after 2 weeks just giving up 1. Hey, he led the league last year, and he's fighting it. He's fighting it after 2 weeks, but you know, Tim White's going to be back. His teammates have confidence in him. He's had a couple of drops, a couple of key plays. We'll get to that, but this guy will be back.
They made it clear they have not given up on Tim White, CFL's leading receiver last year, and just keeping it now on that 2nd down play. They needed 3 yards on that 2nd down, and they certainly didn't get that. Didn't get much on that 2nd down play, so we get a 3rd and 2 coming up now.
Looks like they're going to punt it away. You know, and tempting, I'm sure, for Scott Milanovich here, you know, almost at midfield. You're going to try and run it on 2nd and 3, or 2nd and 4, get 1, and now it's 3rd and 3. This is the right decision. It's always that field position game, special or early, but you're down by 7. It would be tempting to go for it here.
Nick Constantino from Melbourne, Australia. It's like his fellow punter today, Adam Korsak of the Riders. Constantino in his first year in the CFL, standing inside the 35. The always dangerous Mario Alford is back for the return, and Alford inside his 20. Oh, it's a little bit shorter. It takes a hop. He picks it up at the 20 and nowhere to go as he heads out of bounds. The ball is back in Trevor Harris's hands. Got a couple of plays to run. CFL season down 13. Coming back in the fourth quarter, Sean Bain had 3 touchdowns, and Corey Mays tried to get away from the celebration for his first head coaching win. And then last week, they were down 10 in the fourth, came back to tie it, and then that. The pick, C.J. Avery, the walk-off field goal. The final play of the game, and Saskatchewan Roughriders coming into this home opener at 2-0 and leading Hamilton 7-0 right now. With the ball for a second time and into the hands of A.J. Ouellette. And yards have been hard to come by so far for Ouellette as we look at the Riders' offense.
One change in the offensive line. Ryan Sevier, former Calgary Stampeder, in for Philip Blake at left guard. And when you look in the receiving core, last week was Keon Schaefer-Baker returning, playing in front of a ton of family members. Had a big game, over 100 yards against Hamilton last week.
Lots of friends and family there to watch him in Southern Ontario. So for the pickup for Ouellette, who had 32 yards rushing last week in Hamilton. 2nd and 6. Off to the right. It is caught. It's Mitch Picton. Picks up his first catch of this CFL season after he was targeted 3 times last week. Picton, and a first down for the Riders.
Out there at the wideout spot because they have Stearns down on the line of scrimmage. Those 2 outside receivers can be off the line running full speed towards it. Little dig route. Trevor Harris found him.
In his 8th season out of Regina, the 37th overall pick back in 2017. The Saskatchewan 43 now. On a first down. Back to Ouellette. And he finds some room. Bursts through Stavros Katsantonis. Does make the tackle. A late flag comes out as Ouellette, clapping, gets the ball up close to a first down for Saskatchewan.
You don't want to boo a home run, but, you know, 2-0 is 2-0. But if there is an issue or an area that they'd like to improve in Saskatchewan, it's the run game. Ranked last after 2 weeks in the CFL. That after tons of talk about the acquisition of A.J. Ouellette from Toronto in free agency. And one thing that Corey Mace wants to see, get that run game going.
So we're waiting for the decision on the penalties. That was a 9-yard pickup as it stands right now. 2 carries Ouellette and 13 yards, but we wait to hear about the flag. Referee Tim Croker.
Legal block, Saskatchewan number 15, major foul, face mask, Hamilton number 30. It's an automatic first down, Saskatchewan.
Offsetting penalties, automatic first down, as you heard.
Take a look. I think we see the face mask call here in this angle. There it is right there. Katsantonis, no question about that face mask. But offsetting, first down and 10.
With a 7-point lead and just shy of their 50 now for Trevor Harris. 3 for 3 so far in this young game. Back to Ouellette. And he starts pulling his weight, chugging those legs, getting up across midfield. And that is close to a first down. It'll be a 2nd and short coming up here for the Riders.
Here's the starting defense for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Last week, Brandon Barlow, the former Toronto Argonaut, working with Corey Mace, had 3 sacks. Kyle Wilson is the veteran linebacker in that group. And in the back end, Jamal Peters, 2nd start for him for Hamilton. He brings some experience, 37 games in the Canadian Football League at corner.
So more production from Ouellette, who was averaging just 2.3 yards a carry coming into this game. Another handoff to Bain, right side, gets the edge. Wilborn there to push him out of bounds. It looks like another flag coming up here against the Ticats. Could this be another face mask?
Looks like that's the indication. Little fly sweep. Trevor Harris turning around. Quick handoff to Bain. Oh, I don't see a face mask there, so I was wrong on that.
After yards were gained, holding Saskatchewan. It's a 10-yard penalty. It's first down, Saskatchewan.
So it goes the other way. Penalty against the Riders, who have been penalized for over 100 yards in each of their first 2 games. That's another area that they want to clean up.
MLS number 19 right here. Take a look at the block. He's right at the point of attack. So he can do that so far, but if you got your hands on the outside of the shoulder pads and you're not letting the guy go, I believe that was Peters he was blocking.
So the Riders, who would have had a first down on that carry by Bain, are pushed back. Still sorting that out right now near midfield, and now they start to march it back. They're just trying to clarify the spot of the football right now after this penalty.
Could be working out exactly when the penalty flag was thrown. It's thrown after first down gained or before first down gained. So they are saying it's a first down.
Initially putting it down with the nose of the football right at midfield, but it's picked up again as it's still being determined.
So basically they're saying that the flag came out. The holding happened after first down yardage was gained. So they lose the yards but gain the first down.
So they put it down in midfield again.
Well, now they're making sure they've got it placed right, because it didn't look like it moved very much, and it's a 10-yard penalty. So
should they be back at the 45?
Yeah, they're just getting clarification from the command center.
Dave Foxcroft back in the command center as they're taking a while just to get this sorted out, where the ball after the penalty should be placed. All momentum goes Saskatchewan's way so far, despite that penalty. We're midway through the first quarter, and the Riders took advantage of a turnover, a fumble right on the opening kickoff. A couple of plays later, got in the end zone.
Well, they're moving it back 2 yards. And we'll continue.
Now we're set to go with it at the 52 of Saskatchewan, and a first down and 10 for the Roughriders here. Their home opener, Mosaic Stadium. Trevor Harris. And back to Ouellette. And gets up maybe to the 54. A couple of yards there.
Well, considering the last 2 games and the fact that Ouellette's had 29 carries for just 72 yards, that's less than a 3-yard average. Ranks after 2 weeks last in the league. I know that's a small sample size, but clearly this has been a point of emphasis this week in practice to try to get 45 going.
Ouellette was 4th in the CFL in rushing last year with the Argonauts. He got over 1,000 yards from the 54 on a 2nd and 8. Deep shot, nearly, and it is picked off. Jamal Peters does have it. Bobbled a bit. He was in front of Sean Bain, the intended receiver, and then right in his hands, and he did secure the football. So now Saskatchewan turns it over. Hamilton ball, and nicely done by a guy who's picked off a lot of passes in his CFL career.
The intended target, Bain, and there is Jamal Peters, and he runs the route. Rod, when you hear that expression, the DB ran the route for the receiver, this is what I'm talking about. I mean, he's got his head back to the football. He's running the go route. He's in better position than Bain is. Makes his 12th career interception, 13th, I should say, career interception.
And his first one as a member of the Ticats. He had quite a few with the Argos, a lot of them against Hamilton. Well, there's James Butler with his first touch, and C.J. Avery, the one who had that big interception right at the end of the final minute that set up the winning field goal, is right on Butler.
That's got John Perlberg added the interception immediately. I shouldn't have ever doubted him on that one. So it is 12 career. There's your leading rusher after 2 weeks. Catching a little flare pass out and contained quickly by Avery.
Riders D did a good job on Butler last week. He had 12 carries for 27 yards. Short pass there. Passing now from the end zone is Mitchell. That is complete. It's Stephen Dunbar. Second catch of the game, and that one he gets up shy of the 20. It's a third down. Looks like 2 or 3 yards coming up here, and a punting situation for the Ticats.
Yeah, right now the Saskatchewan defense keeping everything in front of them. You know, forcing Mitchell to look at those check downs, a couple throws to, you know, underneath the coverage. And the idea offensively there is if you can make a guy miss or make 2 miss, you get the first down on your own at yards after the catch. But so far, a couple of quick offensive series for Hamilton.
Constantini with the punt for Alfred. Chasing him back about the 40 of Saskatchewan. Oh, he turned left. He cut back right. What a nice move he made there. Mario Alford to Trevor Harris back on. He's up against an old coach in Scott Milanovich. We'll have more on that relationship coming up.
And he said the two of them hang out with the whole fam jam, and they keep in touch all the time. But one thing they did say to me is that you wouldn't even know that we are tight and close friends when this game's going on, because they won't even talk to each other until after the game's over, guys, because they're that competitive with one another.
Brett, they have quite a history, too, going back to the Argo days, starting in 2012. Caleros was there, of course, Ricky Ray, too, and Jarius Jackson. But, yeah, Trevor Harris learned a lot from Scott Milanovich, and that's a toss and completed to Sean Bain. And then later, when Ray was hurt in 2015, those two worked together an awful lot. And last week, Harris still had a lot of praise for what he learned from Milanovich.
Yeah, no question. And, you know, Ricky Ray and Scott Milanovich now working with Bo Levi Mitchell. Think of the quarterbacks that he's worked with throughout his career, including Ricky and Trevor Harris. So we mentioned off the top, these two quarterbacks, you know, Vernon Adams is off to a great start. I mean, the quarterback play across the league has been outstanding, but these have been the top guns after 2 weeks statistically.
2nd and 4. Off to the left. It's caught. First down. And then turning around, cutting back. And a little stiff arm there for Richard Leonard with a flag coming out. Samuel Emelis, who had the touchdown earlier in this game. And pretty aggressive with Leonard trying to get by him.
A little excess aggression there from Emelis. They picked the flag up.
A stiff arm is allowed to a certain degree, is it not?
I thought there was a flag too, but I don't.
We did see a flag initially. They're playing on, so picking it up. Harris, deep, caught, touchdown. A Joe. CFL rookie. Got to play in the second half last week in Hamilton. Had 5 catches. Now has his first CFL touchdown.
He came in for Bain last week when he was nicked, and Joe just caught all 5 targets in that second half, as you mentioned, and just a dart, a perfect throw from Trevor Harris over the shoulder. Joe, his first major, and here goes the ball right over to the rookie.
Another point after for Lother. Exciting for that young man, Joe from Brooks, Alberta. Played some high school ball in Edmonton before heading to the U.S. Some time with Clemson in the CFL. He is a touchdown. The Riders have a 14th
run, and Joe has got a man-to-man matchup with Kenneth George Jr. here, and watch Joe strides in 2-3 steps. He separates by 2 or 3 yards. He just pulls away from Kenneth George. Now George can't get help from the safety on a corner route. He just ran by him.
Right, you know, man, Saskatchewan, baby.
Mentioned he went to Clemson. Later on, most recently, Garden City Community College. An Alberta kid, and with Saskatchewan, he's got his first CFL touchdown after 5 catches for 41 yards last week in Hamilton. So Lawrence Woods again on the kickoff return for the 3rd time, as the Ticats are in an early hole here late in the first quarter, trailing by a couple of touchdowns. It's been all Riders so far as Bo Levi Mitchell gets set to come on and get back to work.
Yeah, sense of urgency now for him. I mean, I know we're in the first quarter here, but just a few first downs give your defense a chance to regroup over there. I mean, he's thrown it underneath, but the Riders defensively have rallied to make those tackles.
Different scenario so far this season for the Riders, who relied on coming back to win. So far they're leading it by 14. So front runners today at home for the first time in 24. 1st and 10, Ticats from the 31. James Butler, left side. And the Riders continue to do a good job on Butler, as a flag does come out in that play towards the end of it.
It's going to be holding against Hamilton.
Holding Hamilton number 40. 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
James Tuck called on the hold there. Time to look at the Rider defense.
1 sack for the front 4. That's from Brian Cox. It was a big one in the Edmonton game. Sealed that win. A couple of interceptions, one per game to start the season for C.J. Avery. And back in the secondary, Nelson Lacombo gets his 2nd straight start. Jaden Dalkey started the season. The last 2 games, they've moved Nelson Lacombo to that spot.
They take the holding penalty and push it back to the 21. A 1st and 20 now coming up here for Mitchell as the crowd picks up. Tries to make it difficult, and the veteran quarterback here with Hamilton throwing quickly over the middle, and it is Tim White. The Riders are saying no catch. Mitchell made it clear, despite the problems of White, they're going to keep going right back to him.
In that familiar slot back position, he's just going to run a bender here just into the hash mark. The safety Nelson Lacombo, I mentioned in the lineups a second ago, coming over to try and help out. Does he catch this ball or not? That's a good play on the outside for Milligan. Roland Milligan got his hands between, and that's incomplete.
2nd and 20 now. Getting very loud here at Mosaic. 4-man rush. Gets rid of it. And in the area was Dunbar. Turned around a bit. And it stopped as that sails past. And a 3rd and 20. Another Ticat drive stalls deep in their zone.
Yeah, I think Dunbar ran the correct route because of the reaction from Bo Levi Mitchell there. He saw Dunbar and he kind of gave him the thumbs up, like, you were right, I threw it to the wrong spot.
So Alford back, he's standing at his 40s, so the Riders already have a 2-touchdown lead. Should be starting from a pretty good spot, depending on the return here, and a shorter punt for Constantino as Alford picks it up and gets it up to the 50, and a late push out of bounds. Ray Wilborn, and another penalty coming up here against Hamilton.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness. Hamilton number 0. 15 yards added at the end of play. First down, Saskatchewan.
These 2 teams have been 9 after 2 weeks, have been ranked 9th and 8th. Last 2 teams in the league. Too many penalties from both of them, but the Hamilton's had almost half of that of Saskatchewan. They've got away with it at 2-0. Hamilton hasn't at 0-2. Both these teams have to clean that up, and both coaches mentioned it when we talked to them this week.
So in his first year, Ray Wilborn, linebacker, penalized there on special teams. So already for Harris, starting at the Hamilton 44, first down. Throwing to the right. Open receiver to it's Emelis. Dexter Lawson has him corralled. And gets a little chippy, too, in some words after that. But Emelis having a good start at home. Has a touchdown already.
Well, this receiving core, you can move. It's like moving parts. You can play him at wide out, at slot back. Doesn't matter. He's running the out there and has got lots of room against that zone look. Harris doesn't hesitate. Put it out there for him.
And Harris Harris has been razor sharp. He's 7 for 8 for 104 yards, 2 touchdown passes. Did have 1 picked off, but the Riders in business again. Down approaching the 25. Ouellette with it, and he finds some room. And Wilborn in on the tackle for the Ticats, along with Trevon Mason. But another good pickup. Better day on the ground so far for A.J. Ouellette.
So Sean Bain in week 1, big game for him. In week 2, Keon Schaefer-Baker, as we talked about, against Hamilton, and Sam Emelis now picking up, and how they're moving him around in different spots. You know, sometimes defensively, if you're coming into game 2 against Keon Schaefer-Baker, you're going to slant the defense that way a little bit. That's why we're seeing Emelis more targets.
Great receiver talent on the Saskatchewan team. Harris looking for more in a 2nd and 4, but that one is low. Looking for a Joe. Not to mention him too as a touchdown so far. He's the 2nd one. So 9 seconds on the clock until quarter time.
Yeah, that pocket started to close in on Trevor Harris just a little bit. He started hopping and really never got his feet aligned on that throw. It was a little bit behind Joe, and he knows it.
Harris faced some heat. Mentioned Bo Levi Mitchell wasn't sacked at all last week, but Harris was 4 times, 3 times by Brandon Barlow. Here's Lothar. Didn't have a field goal try in game 1. He had 4 for 4 last week, including the walk-off winner, and the whistle blows before that kick is made.
Yeah, there was some concern with Brett Lothar coming out of the preseason. There was the fan base were wondering if there should be competition.
Saskatchewan number 52. It's 5-yard penalty. Retry the convert. Or retry third down. Retry third down.
That's probably calmed down a little bit after last week.
I would think so. Yeah, you know. Fan base saying just bring in competition. We don't, you know, we're not sure. Is maybe he's losing it, but you know, I've mentioned before the kicking game and the kicker, it's kind of like a golf swing, and you know, sometimes it can just be your foot, your plant foot, keep your head down, all those little things that can change the trajectory of the football, and he's got it sorted out. 4 for 4 last week, as you mentioned, and
so the procedure call puts them 5 yards back from the 34. And it's good. He's 5 for 5 of the season, 1 for 1 in this game. And another score for Corey Mace's Saskatchewan Roughriders, owning this first quarter over the Ticats right from the opening kickoff when Hamilton fumbled the ball, leading to a touchdown and a Joe. Quarter, all Saskatchewan 17-0 suits, and the Ticats offense has to get to work here and should be led by their star receiver Tim White. As you know, he's had a slow start to the season with some drops. They did say they'd be going back to him again and again.
Yeah, they're going to, and of course they should. I mean, he was a leading receiver last year, and they should stick with him. However, another one tonight, and the Hamilton offense got to get something going. I mean, they're in hostile territory right here, down 17 after 1 quarter, and get buried pretty quickly if you don't fight back offensively. And they got to get Tim White going. I have no doubt that he's going to get going and get on a roll, and then we're going to see the Tim White we saw last year. And let's give a little credit to Roland Milligan, who made a play when he dropped that last one in the first quarter here.
In the last 2 quarters, so last week's 4th quarter and this one, the Riders have outscored Hamilton 33-3, 17-0 here after that field goal by Lothar. The Hamilton 40, and down goes Mitchell. Charbel de Beer, and the first sack by the Riders of Mitchell in 5 quarters. They finally do get to the Ticats quarterback.
Right down there in the nose position, just going head-to-head, little bull rush, hard right arm, and then when Bo Levi Mitchell tries to step up, just with one arm, De Beer brings him down. Must be nice learning from Micah Johnson.
Yeah. You could certainly learn from worse than Big Micah, that's for sure. 2nd and 14 after the loss. He's facing heat again. Quicker feet, gets away. Flag comes out, though. This against the Ticats, going down in the backfield, and not nearly enough for a first down on the run by Mitchell.
And this looks like it'll be a holding against Hamilton, which would probably be declined here.
Holding, Hamilton number 60. Penalty is declined. It's 3rd down.
So the Riders getting some pressure on Bo Levi Mitchell finally.
Talked about those rookie tackles. Kind of thrown in the deep end and learning by fire. Yeah, anytime you get your arm around the neck of a defensive lineman, pretty good chance you're going to get called for holding.
Constantino, the punt, early second quarter, takes a nice roll for Hamilton as Bain tracks it back to the 5. Sean Bain on the punt return. He gets it out to about the 9. Well, Corey Mace, new head coach in Saskatchewan, but he knows the area well from his days, many of them with the Calgary Stampeders, and knows just what Rider Nation means in Saskatchewan football.
I remember being a player in this league dating back, you know, to 2010 and beyond that. Coming to Saskatchewan, you knew what you were going to get out there on game day, and we want that back here. You know, we want this place to be packed, the facilities the best in the country. Yeah, we want to hear Rider Nation.
And liking the way things are going for Rider Nation so far in this home opener in a 17-point lead. For Corey Mace, and some good years as a defensive lineman with the Calgary Stampeders, and that one as Bain had it in the fingertips and looked to be turning upfield as it falls incomplete.
This is, yeah, that's just a quick peek from Bain, but this is an important down early in this one for Hamilton. I mean, had the Ticats here, they get a quick 2 and out. Now they're forcing Corey Mace into a decision. Is he going to punt it out of his end zone or give up to? Gives the Hamilton Tiger Cats some decent field position. It's a big play.
So here we go in a 2nd and 10. The Riders deep in their own zone for a change. Little pump fake and flaring it out to the left. And that is caught by the new fullback in Saskatchewan. That is Clint Ratkovich. His first year out of Northern Illinois. And a first down, Riders.
Well, you take a look at the patience from Trevor Harris. Watch the zone drops here. Just zone drops from the Hamilton Tiger Cats. So they're going to wait. And now Trevor Harris has got to be patient. Be patient. Be patient. The guy comes out of the backfield. And now look at all the real estate in front of him. If you're not patient, you have linebackers close to the line of scrimmage. They make the tackle and hold them short.
Ratkovich with the catch and a first down up to the 25 now. A.J. left. Finds some room, taken down. Kyle Wilson has him, but another better pickup for Ouellette. Having a better day so far of the 3 rushing the football that he's had in the green and white as he gets it up to the 30.
The issues for Mark Washington's group after 2 weeks was no interceptions. You know, they got to start to figure out a way to turn the ball over. A -2 coming in. That was ranked 7th. Small sample size, but your job on defense, get the ball back.
Well, they did have the pick earlier in the first quarter by Jamal Peters, but that didn't turn into anything. And it's been all Riders. That is caught by Kean Schaefer-Baker. Had that big game Glenn talked about last week in Hamilton, a couple of touchdowns.
Talbert gets underneath this throw, and it's a real good catch by Schaefer-Baker because that has a bit of a wobble on it, and he has to go and reel it in. I mean, he has to reach for that one with a guy right behind it, a defender. If that's tipped off his hands, there's a defender coming from the right of your screen and one underneath. Solid hands from 89.
What a game he had. He had a first quarter touchdown and then that one that led to tying the game at 30 with under a minute to go, and then they got the surprise turnover that allowed them to win it in regulation. Saskatchewan 38 now, 1st and 10. Harris stands in, delivers again. Sean Bain with Richard Leonard there, but another Rider first down.
Nice protection up front for Trevor Harris. Enough time for those guys. It's just 5 on 5. In fact, 5 on 5 rushing, man on man, big on big, and he just waits that extra second, finds that little lane, and waits for Bain to pass by the linebacker.
Sean Bain had 5 catches last week, but had to leave in the second half. He was hurt. They're glad to see him back, and of course he had that dominant performance in Edmonton to open things up in the season. 3 touchdowns. So a little fake there, and then off to Ouellette, throwing to A.J. Ouellette, and gets it down They're in the Hamilton zone inside the 50. It'll be a second and short coming up.
The interesting play call here from Coach Mueller. They pull a lineman this way and bring Ouellette back the other way. It's try to mislead the defense. Look at the big lineman going up to the opposite side, and then just little throw to the flat to Ouellette and try and get the defense thinking. If you get them thinking, you freeze.
Well, they certainly have the Ticats defense thinking the way this game has gone so far. Mark Mueller, new offensive coordinator, and back home in Regina, his hometown. 2nd and 3, the 49, another first down. Back to Bain again, as Harris and the Riders have something going here.
Now, Trevor Harris has hit 7 different targets. That's when you know your quarterback is reading the defense and throwing it to the spots he needs to throw it to. It's not about a guy. It's not really about a matchup. I mean, Sam Emilus is off to a good start in this game, but just happens to be the way the coverage is happening for Trevor Harris. He's reading it. He's making the right decisions. This is a huge drive. They were backed up and a chance in 2nd and long. They give it up there. The Ticats get some momentum and real good field position, and this drive continues.
In his 12th season out of Edinburgh College, Trevor Harris going to work again. Jared Stearns in on the act here. And that catch. You talk about all the different receivers. Had another name. And Suits, what a game he had. What a big catch he had late to help extend a drive for the Ticats, or for the Riders last week.
Well, Coach Mace says he's his favorite player. Said it to the team, and they've been teasing him a little bit about that. Wait a minute, you can't have favorites. But he said he just loves his work ethic, loves what the guy does, how he comes to work every day, and it's paying off.
That was in a 2nd and long last week. He caught one, and he was hit hard by Stavros Katsantonis, but hung on to the football. Throwing again. That one a little bit shy, intended for Schaefer Baker, just inside the 30. So a 3rd down now coming up.
Into a little bit of a wind. There's a bit of a decision there for Corey Mace as to whether or not they'd go field goal or punt here. A little bit of a wind in the face of Saskatchewan going this way. At least line up in punt formation.
Yeah, the punter Korsak is out there standing at midfield. We saw this last night in Toronto, where that wind was really starting to swirl, and in situations where you'd expect a field goal try, instead they chose to punt. And
onside, guys.
We got 2 onside players. Watch for that as Korsak gets rid of it. Heads down in the end zone. There are eligible players coming in as Roland Milligan, as Woods does take it and takes a knee, as you know what the Riders were trying to do there. So a point on the board. Another one for the Riders at an 18.
Well, knew the game, knew the market, knew how to treat people with respect. Played high school football at Tom Collegiate, then with the Regina Rams, and then started with the Riders with Ronnie and George back in the mid-70s, and then, yeah, president and CEO from 05 to 14, where they won 2 championships in 07 and 13. Great guy, showed tremendous courage in the end in his battle with cancer. Went to his memorial, and it was absolutely packed with people that love Jim Hobson and what he did for this team.
Much beloved Rough Rider, and honored today. And you see the stickers
outside
on the helmets.
Hamilton number 12. It's a 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
So Tim White called in the offside there, but the JH stickers, as we had showed you earlier, on the Saskatchewan helmet. But what a terrific football figure in his contribution to Saskatchewan, and notably the Rough Riders. So in a hole already is Hamilton again. It is 18-0. It's a 1st and 15 now with that penalty. From the 35 on that first down to Butler. Nowhere to run. Picks up a few yards. Not much there.
You know, he's fighting it in a lot of ways. Tim White just got a penalty for offside, and you know, sometimes you have a couple of these early. This is game 1, and you know, that was a tough catch, but catches that we've seen him make routinely.
And had one last week, too, in the opening drive that ended up being a field goal for the Cats. So second down at 14. That was only a 1-yard gain for Butler. And that coming back and looking for Patman, new Cat receiver, who had a catch earlier in this game, but it's incomplete. It's third down. Hamilton punting again.
You know, and then after that game 1, game 2, it didn't get any better. And with the ball game tied and time running out, this happens. That sets up the game-winning field goal from Brett Lowther. And, you know, to a man, his teammates are behind him. He's got the confidence to come back, and I know it won't be long.
Fourth straight 2-and-out for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Giving up the ball again, Mario Alford. And he gets tackled just across the 31. Enoch Penny-Laye in there in the special teams tackle. Riders home opener. And it's all green, and 2 receivers in the game for the respective teams. Keandre Smith, Kean Schaefer-Baker. They have that in common, and the fact they both went to the University of Guelph, Brett Dort.
What an advertisement for the University of Guelph last week in that game. The two are very tight-knit. They trained together during the offseason. Their time at Guelph, they spent 2 seasons together. And Schaefer-Baker told me during the recruitment process for Smith, they let him stay with him. He said, I don't know why they trusted me to have him there during the recruitment process with me, but it worked because he signed there. And between those two, and of course Clark Barnes on the Calgary Stampeders, who also went to the University of Guelph, I would just say it's what a great receiver program. And you said that, Ron. And KSV joke is that we call it wide receiver U.
For a good reason, Brett. And Olet on the carry. But yeah, that school pumping out some pretty talented receivers for the Canadian Football League.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, Schaefer-Baker drafted 4th, 30th overall. Smith, 4th, 37th overall. And Barnes with Calgary, 24th overall in the 3rd round. You know, it looked like they had different coaches, a little bit of a transition there at the time. And don't forget the big guys, because another Guelph Griffin. Colton Woodmansey.
Yep. Their right guard.
Who wants to get something going offensively.
That's the challenge for him and Keandre Smith and the rest right now. They are down, but the defense trying to lead them back here. It's Kyle Wilson coming in as Harris had nowhere to go.
You know, I just did a check because talking about, you know, wide receiver U and Guelph, University of Calgary has the most current U Sports players in the CFL. They have 15. Steve Daniel got me this stat, by the way. Laval's number 2 at 14. Montreal, University of Montreal, number 2 tied at 14. So that's 28 coming out of Laval and Montreal. Wilfrid Laurier at 11, Guelph at 8. UBC's making a big comeback. They have 10. So there's those U Sports guys getting it done.
Interesting to see the breakdown of some great schools generating a lot of football talent. So
and you're going to make me sad bringing up SFU, because we used to dominate that, and that I don't even want to go there.
Yeah, I hear you. I understand that illegal punt out of bounds there by the Riders and Corsac as he heads out outside the 15-yard line. Coming in, Kyle Wilson. Big play for the Hamilton defense, and they need it. Fries, McLeod, Bethel Thompson, and the Edmonton Elks up against Vernon Adams and the BC Lions. Lions back home coming off a big win in Winnipeg. And for the Elks, Bethel Thompson, 4 touchdown passes in Toronto last night, but they still couldn't win the game. They lost in a field goal on the last play, and they're 0-3.
What do they have to do to get that win?
Must be wondering that. Ticats trying to avoid an 0-3 start, and they're down in this game as that one heads incomplete. Hamilton 5 drives, 5 punts. They've had 1 first down in that stretch.
Yeah, now, start the game, I was talking about how Bo Levi Mitchell in the first 2 of the season looked like physically he was right back. I mean, his numbers dictated that, but he has been off in this second quarter. I mean, like one hopping to a couple of wide throws.
He started 5 for 5, and he's 0 for 4 since then. 2nd and 10.
Wow.
And the ball is not snapped, and there are some Ticat receivers 20 yards downfield.
Offside, Hamilton number 85. It's a 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
So a little confusion there on the snap count for Keandre Smith, as the crowd has been pretty loud too.
Well, that contributes to it, but there were 3 guys that were well past the line of scrimmage.
Ticats offense clearly out of sorts in this game so far. There's Shamar Bridges, who's their leading receiver in week 1, number 17, and there's Tim White.
Turning up the volume.
They are getting loud again. And the 2nd and 15. Oh, close to Patman, and a good defensive play coming in there. Nelson Lacombo, and taking away what would have been a big catch for Patman.
Well, I mentioned last week Nelson Lacombo, who's going to end up making the play from the safety spot. You don't see him now, but he'll drop back there, and you'll see him as this play develops. There he is right there, and cuts underneath that one. He is half the field, splitting it at half with Roland Milligan. He's got that deep half, and look at that play in the football. They like his speed, like his athleticism, and he is now taking the starting job from Jaden Dalkey.
Constantino with another punt. And that one, flag comes out.
Dalkey is still dressed, playing on the special teams right now, and will be the backup safety. Well, the combo just had, he gets drafted in the 2nd round.
There's no penalty on the play.
Back in 21, and then had the Achilles issue right out of the gate. That really hampered sort of his start to the season, to his career, the pro level. But just a great athlete out of the U of S, and another school. I got to check on the U of S. They put a bunch.
You're right, though. Talking about another good football family too, Lacombo.
Yeah.
I was wondering about the penalty call because it was inside the 15, and they threw the flag, and that was not an illegal punt by Constantino. It was a good punt to hem them back. So they did pick up that flag, by the way. No penalty. He had placed it down. Can't go out of bounds in the air outside the 15, but it's fine inside. Back at the 14-yard line for Saskatchewan to start. A.J. Ouellette, nowhere to go that time. And it's Casey Sales, who's in his 2nd year with the Ticats, but he's like the most experienced or elder statesman, I suppose, with that Ticats defensive line, with all the changes they've made from one year to the next.
Yeah, and that's where the part of this 0-2 is. The reason for it is that they're young. I mean, they're a young team. Look at their secondary. That's why we mentioned Jamal Peters really helps with his experience to be added to that back end. But real young linebackers. Kyle Wilson is the veteran.
Nick Usher in a charge around the left, but it's Ouellette going the other way as he takes that carry, gets it up across the 20. And still shy of a first down, and the punting unit and Corsack will head back on.
You want to say what you want about Simone Lawrence, but good or bad, I know there's both sides of that discussion across this country, but he was the catalyst in that defense.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was for years the leader, the guy who was making those plays that would make the difference, and Hamilton's got to find that guy. Simone, of course, still in the organization.
Stayed with him after a long career with the Ticats. Started his CFL career in Edmonton, but shortly after went to Hamilton, and rest is history. Punt to Woods, the 50, midfield, Lawrence Woods. And so, Bo Levi Mitchell and the Ticats will come back on to start this.
Home. There's only 3 of us. How could we ever fill a halftime?
Just don't know.
Milt will talk the entire time. Lots of love to the Riders. What a start. Back to Jose.
With you 3, Burness, I have all the confidence you'll have no problem filling the half. And as you say, Mr. Stiegel there, you give him some time, ramp him up. There'll be quite a chat coming up from the panel. Kate, Ches, and Milton. 2:24 on the clock, counting down the start of a drive for Bo Levi Mitchell, and he completes that one to Shamar Bridges, as mentioned in his debut for the Ticats. Had a big game in a losing cause in Calgary a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, he's been targeted 18 times in 2 games, so there's confidence from his quarterback. But they need a positive drive here. Even field goal range would give the Ticats a little bit of momentum going in at halftime.
He had 6 catches for 72 yards and a touchdown last week against the Riders. 2nd and 2. Saskatchewan 44. Can the Ticats get on the board before halftime? Here's Butler. yards at a premium against this Rider defense. They've done an excellent job on him, holding him to under 30 yards all game last week.
Yeah, and a big opener against Calgary. Over 100 yards rushing, and was the leading rusher, James Butler. But you're right, that Saskatchewan defense over a game and a half now contained him nicely.
Down to the Rider 41. Barely 2 minutes to go till halftime. Mitchell. Deep end zone. Touchdown. And that is Shamar Bridges. We welcome viewers on TSN4 just joining in for Hamilton's first point of this game. They've been kind of down and out, down by 18, but this will certainly help their cause heading to halftime. Mitchell to Shamar Bridges.
This is what I meant about the physical abilities of Bo Levi Mitchell being back to what we're used to back in his Calgary days when we started this game. He missed a couple of receivers earlier in this quarter, but that was pinpoint accuracy on the corner route. And a quick flick of the wrist from Mitchell.
3 plays, 52 yards, capped off by this point after by Mark Leggio to make it 7 on the board for the Ticats. Did they ever need that? Shamar Bridges went to Fort Valley State University in Georgia. His first year in the CFL, he's got touchdowns now in back-to-back games.
Well, sometimes even if you're facing a zone defense, you got to keep with your route. Don't break it off. Just stay with it. And if the quarterback gets enough time to throw, you got a chance to make the play. So this is a 2-deep zone defense, and you get Bridges in behind coverage, and there's the flick of the wrist. Time for Bo Levi Mitchell to get it done. And how about that accuracy?
He had under 40 yards passing up until, and that was a 41-yard strike for the touchdown. Mitchell, as he talks things over with Scott Milanovich now, as we see these signs of life from that Ticat offense. It's set up nicely by their defense that forced the Riders to punt, and they were able to take over inside the Saskatchewan zone. They'd been hemmed pretty deep throughout a lot of this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, a couple 2-and-outs. Butler not really getting anything going on the ground, and so that's a big major and a good throw and an important one for Hamilton. But what it's done also is it's given Trevor Harris 2 minutes to go ahead and answer, which is lots of time.
The way the game went last week, there was a whole lot of that. That one strikes and the other one comes back. Let's see what Harris and the Rider offense will have. The first offer on the return, and down he goes. Penny Lalier and Tuck taking him out of bounds. So back comes the offense. Samuel Emelis having a big first half.
Yeah, good start for number 19. This is touchdown early on. If you're just joining us on TSN4, he's off to a good start in the first half of this game. Talked about how important Keon Schaefer-Baker was to the offense last week. Looks like this might be the Emelis night. 3 big catches and a touchdown, yeah.
That's right. So it was 39 yards. So up they are at the 26 now to start this possession. Ticats have cut into the lead, and the defense is fired up. Good work there by Kenneth George to tie up Keon Schaefer-Baker until he got a bit of help. And a loss of a couple.
Take a look at this hitch screen, and I was watching the other receivers, not just Schaefer-Baker on this play. A couple guys in behind everybody if he wanted to hitch it up and throw it again.
And to your point about the time remaining before the half, if that defense can force a 2-and-out from the Riders and get the ball back, but that's not going to help. Nick Usher gets a jump, and a flag comes out.
Offside. Hamilton number 75.
By that reaction,
penalty. Remains second down.
Nick Usher tried to anticipate the snap count and was wrong. He tried to come out of the starting blocks just before the whistle blew, or the starter's pistol was shot.
A false start, so they'll try that one again.
That was a big-time false start.
Back in the blocks goes Nick Usher. 2nd and 7 now. So the Riders, it is caught, and good defensive work coming in right there is number 26, Destin Talbert, new linebacker, coverage linebacker for Hamilton, and it's a 3rd and 1, just shy of a first down. And Shea Patterson and the Bigs are coming in short yardage for Saskatchewan. Big moment here for Hamilton's defense. 3rd and 1. The Riders at the 35. Shea Patterson, the short yardage QB. It looks like he has enough to keep it going.
Yeah, oh yeah. He needed a yard, basically. I think he got 2. Quite the start for head coach Corey Mace, isn't it?
Isn't it?
2-0 in dramatic fashion. And by the way, he's only challenged once in those 2 games and won it.
Yeah.
So he's 1 for 1 in challenges and 2-0 on the season.
Right. I'm certainly no one to talk. We've been teasing him about a little gray in the beard.
Yeah.
And I think it's to do with the stress level these last couple of weeks and all the anxiety. Victories, yes, but they have been so close, needing those comebacks.
Well, and he said, yeah, it was funny. We had a good laugh about that. I noticed a little more grays there, and he goes, yeah, you know what? It probably is our penalties. Something that they're trying to straighten out and have over the last couple weeks here. Too many penalties in the first 2 games. Got away with it with the wins, but those will grab you in the backside before long if you don't fix the problem.
An incomplete pass. 2nd down.
The life of a head coach. His team leading right now by 11 as halftime gets closer. And after that play, a 2nd and 10 coming up here. The Riders trailed by 13 at the half in Hamilton last week. Harris chased. Doesn't take off often, but he does there. And he gets it up to about the 45. So short yardage again coming up here for Saskatchewan. And now we welcome viewers on TSN 5 joining this game here. The home opener for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Rod Smith, Glenn Suter, Britt Dort here for the 2-0 Riders and a rematch against the 0-2 Hamilton Tiger Cats. They met last week at Tim Hortons Field in Hamilton, and that was won dramatically to the dismay of Scott Milanovich's team on a walk-off field goal by Brett Lawton.
Well, they've been trying to dig out of the hole here. They fumbled the opening kickoff, and Saskatchewan scored immediately, recovering that fumble, and then the next play put it in the end zone.
A 1st and 10 for Saskatchewan, throwing, and that is caught by A.J. Olette. There's a lot of daylight in front of him as he puts his shoulders down, and it is just an awful sight to see. A limping Trevor Harris hit and goes back down again. My goodness. You think back, it was game 5 against Calgary last year when he got injured, and here's hoping that is nothing serious for the Riders' star quarterback.
I believe it was Nick Usher from the top of your line there. He's going around, and I mean the target zone was correct there. He was between the above the knee and below the head, below the shoulders is the target area.
But it was a leg injury. It was a break last year around the knee that took him out for the season, and he did a lot of work to get back, and you see how good he has been as Patterson comes on. But at least good to see that Harris able to walk off on his own, and hopefully he is okay. It's made such a difference for Saskatchewan. You've seen it already this season.
Well, let's take another look, because I mean the tackle looked like just a clean tackle, and he was going down. Did he maybe just twisted or buckled underneath him with the weight of Usher on him?
Just walking it off and seeing how it feels now. Harris on the sideline. So first reps at quarterback this season for Shea Patterson. Looks to take off, rolling out, trying to find a receiver, throws it down, and the closest is a Ticat. Katsantonis coming in, and a flag is down back in the Hamilton secondary. Only 21 seconds to go until halftime.
Well, that's a good sign that he is walking under his own.
Legal contact on a receiver against Hamilton. It's a 10-yard penalty.
Going to be obviously very cautious. That puts the Riders back in field goal range. Shea Patterson extending the play. Second penalty of this first half for Katsatonis.
That penalty puts it just inside the Hamilton 40 for Patterson on a first down, 21 seconds to go. So at the very least, get a little closer for a field goal try for Brett Lother. See if they can extend their lead before the half. Patterson. When you want to take the sack, he completes that pass at the 35. That is Jareth Stearns catching it. 17 seconds to go. Second down coming
risky.
up.
I would call this a risky throw. A couple of defenders right there, and he was kind of retreating and falling back here. There, Usher with the bull rush, and it was a risky one.
Of course, he's probably mindful of taking the sack too to push him out of field goal range. So here is the throw. Oh my goodness, nearly picked, also nearly caught for a touchdown. Jareth Stearns, the intended receiver, a bit of an adventure there at the goal line as it ultimately falls incomplete.
Yeah, I thought this was going to be intercepted. Katsatonis was back there waiting on it. High points the ball, but it goes through his hands. He can't squeeze it here, and that's where Stearns has a chance at it right there, but can't hang on.
So the field goal try will come up now on the third down with Lother. 5 for 5 in the season, 1 for 1 tonight, and yes, 4 for 4, including the walk-off winner last week in Hamilton. This one, a 43-yard try. Oh my goodness, did the wind do something with that?
Oh yeah.
That started one way and ended up gusting over the other way. Katsatonis, and just killing the clock. Zero's on it now as he just goes down. And what a strange way for the half to end as Lother had put it off to his left, and it just gusted over and missed to the right.
Yeah, and that wind might be swirling a little bit more than it looks like from up here, and that may be why Bo Levi Mitchell was off on a couple of throws, because that kick clearly was hit by the wind.
Wind clearly a factor in this home opener for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Let's take another look at this Lother.
It's the good news, but not coming out in the second half. Let's see if we can get an update.
The Riders could have taken the ball to start the second half, but the wind is more important. You saw that at the end of the first. And so Brett Lother is on. They're going to kick off and give Hamilton the start again this half. They want the wind in the fourth quarter. Going against it now. Down just inside the 20 on the kickoff for Lawrence Woods. He finds his way up to about the 35. Before he is tackled, Bo Levi Mitchell. A late touchdown pass of 41 yards, as mentioned, to Bridges to salvage something for some real struggles in that first half of the Hamilton offense.
Well, and maybe it was the wind. I mean, you know, depending on which way you're going, there was a couple of throws there from Bo that were well short of the intended target. Open receivers really could have got that offense kick-started. Started to wonder a little bit about what was going on, except for that wind is swirling. It doesn't look bad really in the flags, but that last kick by Lowther showed us that it's real down there.
Did it ever. More of a cross breeze all over the place. So starting now in the second half, we heard from Shamar Bridges, who has their touchdown, and he has the first catch here in the third quarter.
But I mentioned Butler, just 4 yards rushing in the first half. The run game going will help Bo in second down. And Tim White, I mean, the longer this goes on, the more it becomes a story for them in their offense. The panel say, what do you get? Like Milt talking about, how do you get him the ball, get him some confidence, a little hit screens.
See what they do in a 2nd and 3. Mitchell with time, running out of it, runs out of it. Taking him down is ex-Ticat Malik Carney. His second game against his old club, and he picks up the sack. As mentioned before, the Riders did not have a sack last week. They got 2 in this night tonight.
You know, Bordner does a pretty good job initially. His job is to keep him wide and keep him high. But when Bo Levi Mitchell comes under or steps up in the pocket, that's when Carney comes underneath and gets to him. But that's an assist to the DBs back in the back end. Bo had a lot of time initially.
Constantino with the punt for Mario Alford. And with that breeze at his back, you can see the difference as he's pushed back inside the 5. Alford does get it up across the 20 to about the 23. An updated Trevor Harris now. Let's hear from Brett.
Yeah, not being told much. All I've been told is that he is questionable to return, and it, of course, is that lower body injury. Of course, we're seeing Shea Patterson warm up, so I'm sure we'll see a lot more of him here.
Of course, haunted by what happened last year. Panel talked about it, too, when he was injured early in the season.
But questionable is a better word than will not.
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to be optimistic, but I just hope that he looks okay, and they're just being, you know, taking all the precautions necessary and all. Examine everything they need to examine down there.
Well, he was able to get off the field on his own. You saw him walking around. So Patterson starting at quarterback here in the second half and handing off to A.J. Olad, who picks up a couple of yards on first down.
That changes the strategy, I think, for defensive coordinator Mark Washington for the Ticats now. I mean, he can probably get more aggressive, start to show some blitz and drop out of it. See if they can't try to fool Shea Patterson into some bad decisions. I mean, when you get a younger quarterback, you get away with some things a lot better. You get away with some more blitzes. You get away with having a hole in the zone that the young quarterback won't find, and Trevor Harris was finding.
Shea Patterson in his 3rd year in the CFL out of Michigan. He had some time with the Montreal Alouettes when Trevor Harris was there, backing him up. It's a 2nd down and 10 from the 23. A flag is out as he's on the move, and that one nearly picked off. Katsantonis coming in on Jarrett Stearns, got his hands on it, couldn't hang on, but see what this flag is all about back in the Rider backfield.
That's the second play.
Holding. Saskatchewan number 51. Penalties declined. It's 3rd down.
Almost back-to-back that Katsantonis should have had an interception. I mean, he's tracking Stearns on this crossing route, and when Patterson gets outside, he just times up his cut to go underneath the route here and then just drops it. He should have 2 picks.
That other one late in the half, right down at the Hamilton end zone. Katsantonis had a chance. So 2 and out. Riders. Corsack the punt. Good field position here with the breeze for Lawrence Woods, and a good return too. Cross midfield into the Rider zone. Similar to where they started late in the first half, which resulted in a big touchdown pass. The Ticats need another one now, trailing in the 3rd. And I'll never forget.
Great moment. Yeah, right there.
2 years ago in the Grey Cup, he'd been battling cancer and came back to host our Grey Cup coverage. What a moment that was.
Yeah, as broadcasters, you know, of this great game, and the national broadcasters, we're neutral. But Dutchie never hid how much he loved this province, how much he loved this game, but how much he loved this football team.
He never hid that. He would, you know, imagine if Saskatchewan was playing in that Grey Cup game, but
yeah.
Oh, what a great guy he was. We miss him so much, and Darren Detition, Saskatchewan, very proud of him. He was very proud of this province.
Absolutely.
Represented it very well. It's a 2nd and 7 now for the Ticats at the Rider 43 near the first down mark, and that's Bridges, who has their touchdown in this game and a first down as the drive continues now for Hamilton.
Clearly, Scott Milenovich and Bo Levi Mitchell have come out in the second half, you know, with a game plan to try to work Shamar Bridges often in that short side. That late touchdown, you know, sort of looked at the playbook. I'm sure Milenovich looked again and said, hey, we may have a couple other routes for number 17 over there.
Well, let's see it. They're down to the 36. The Riders trailed by 13 last week to start the second half. They closed the gap. Hamilton trying to do the same now, faking the handoff and then tossing it over to the big fullback James Tuck, who rumbles his way down inside the 25, and another first down.
Especially on first down, but really second and long too. I think this is one of the underrated plays in the game that is just not used enough. And I say it from the perspective of a DB like Williams there, trying to get in position to make a tackle on a big, huge fullback or a big tailback that's got a head of steam coming right at you.
Tuck the truck, I heard from our producer John Hines. Very appropriate. From the 22, 1st and 10, rolling out. And he just gets as much yardage as he can get on that first down play before heading out of bounds.
Well, if the wind was strong enough down there for the coaches to decide to kick it off to get the wind in the 4th quarter, because you're right, the Riders had the choice coming out in the 2nd half. They won the toss and deferred. That means that Scott Milanovich has got to make hay right now in the 3rd quarter. If it's that strong down there, and it's tough to gauge because you know your hair looks fantastic. It's not happening up here.
I won't divulge the secret. Plus, we're a little out of the wind too. I can see that maybe. Second down and 5 now to that pickup by Mitchell. Throwing, it is caught, and once again, working that first down marker very well is Shamar Bridges, just getting enough to move the sticks again for Hamilton.
Yeah, this is the guy who's fighting it. This is the guy who's going to catch it, and he's fighting it going on the corner to try and clear out. And you know, if Tim White is going to become the decoy in this, that's sad. He's, you know, and we talked to Bo. He's going to feed him the ball. He's going to try and get him the ball. But right now, this drive, really, Bridges has been the guy. He
has been. 5 catches, 72 yards, and a touchdown now, and clearly the favorite target at this point for Bo Levi Mitchell. Rookie receiver Shamar Bridges. First down, the 10. Caught. And it's Ande Litre, veteran. Played with Calgary with Mitchell, and then later the Ottawa Red Blacks in his first year with Hamilton, and he takes it down to the 5.
So backs involved as an adjustment offensively for the Ticats. Saw the screen, tuck. Now we get another little swing pass.
That's a nice sign here, isn't it? With the brace on that left knee. Trevor Harris jogging back on. Just beyond the 5. This is a 2nd and 5. Hamilton knocking on the door. Faking it. Butler, the ball comes out. The Riders have it. Rider football on the fumble by Bo Levi Mitchell. Jameer Thurman picks it up. Snuffing out a promising Hamilton drive. Just as they were knocking on the door, 5 yards away, Mitchell takes the handoff. Charbel DeBeer knocks it out. Thurman has it. Rider ball.
But watch Mitchell's reaction. Over 100 starts, 2-time MOP, ice in his veins, whether it's good or bad. You almost never see any emotion from Bo Levi Mitchell, good or bad, but you could tell the frustration is there. It's coming. That was one of those moments when you talk about 6 plays in a game. That's one of the plays, and he knows it.
They're down by 11, 2 scores, and they had a chance for a score there. There's DeBeer. Big defensive moment for Saskatchewan by 99. Shea Patterson still at quarterback. Trevor Harris has come back to the sideline. So he's back with the team after the dressing room, but that one is incomplete.
Well, this is a real good sign. Obviously, he's back out here. He's got the brace on. The brace would be just in case. Now they can see how Shea Patterson plays. And I'm sure if Corey Mace has a choice here, he would not. He wants to rest him the rest of the game, but we'll see how he manages this and just where they're at. He's got his helmet. He's got the brace on. That's good news.
Definite good news. See him back out there again and still in uniform. Midway through the 3rd. Patterson off now to Olette. Gets ahead of steam and a first down. Captain Tonis taking him down, but.
See this, again, high percentage throws, get the back involved, get the run game involved, get Olette involved. This is how you can settle down a young quarterback. And, I mentioned how Mark Washington, the defensive coordinator for Hamilton, will call the defenses differently. Mark Mueller now will likely call the offense quite differently for Patterson. Same plays, but a different style of the actual play calls.
And it's been a better day overall in green and white for A.J. Olette, who had struggled running the football. And here's another better run. All his runs seem to be better in this one. His third game with Saskatchewan as he gets that one on first down up for a pickup of about 6 yards.
Yeah, and you know what? That was a great cut and acceleration out of the cut, but there's something bugging him too. Like physically, he's got a little bit of a limp in his step as well, and he has for the last couple of weeks. Clearly, he's fighting through something. But a good run and a good cut, second and medium.
82 yards from scrimmage for A.J. Olad, but yeah, heading off after that catch and carry. On the second down, coverage there from Jamal Peters. Sean Bain wanted a flag.
Yeah, he wants a challenge. That would be the signal to his coach to challenge you. If you tap your head to challenge, it's a penalty. So every team and all the receivers now, they have their own system and their own signal, so they can tell the coach, I feel like I was interfered with. And Bain got up rubbing his top of his shoulder pads. I don't know though if they'd get a call there. That was pretty good coverage. I didn't see Peters twist him or turn him.
Well, there's your challenge.
And they're going to take a look at it.
Back in the studio years ago, we were wondering, you know, when you get flagged for saying and throw the challenge flag, we thought, well, what can you do as a player? So we all came up with our own ideas on what do you do? What symbol do you don't get penalized for? Come up with one. We just ad-libbed it.
Well, my code word would be tippy-toe. Man center for a second and showed you the good look. Let's take another look. A little bit of contact on the break here. But is it enough?
There's the announcement from Tim Croker
to overturn it.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Saskatchewan, by losing its challenge, has lost a timeout. It's third down.
A little bit of contact, but you know, I think if you start to, in the challenge process, start to call plays and get into that type of detail, that type of minutia in a little bit of contact, you're setting a precedent that's going to be Flag City. I'm not sure you want to go there.
So the Riders lose the challenge. Some vindication there for Jamal Peters, and they lose a timeout as well. Adam Korsak down inside his 25, to send it to Lawrence Woods. He sends it to the right.
That's a biggie.
Great punt. And a great roll. My goodness. That'll put Hamilton back there. Woods getting it well up to about the 17 before he is tackled, but just a brilliant punt by Korsak, who got a nice bounce near the sideline and kept rolling down.
Wow, that was like a I'll say a wind aided, but I'm not sure he has the wind. But then
we're not sure where this wind is going.
He's got that good inside bounce all the way down to the 10-yard line. I mean, that just completely changes field position. We don't talk about punters very often, but occasionally they can put it in the corner and give their defense a nice start.
I'll tell you, I feel like I've been talking about them more now. They're just punts like that. And down at the 19 now for Hamilton to start after that one by Korsak. And off to Butler.
I should say, Rod, that I don't talk about punters very often. So, yeah, and no offense to punters.
No, it's just
very necessary. But
well, vast returners too, about just especially the influx of the Australians has his Korsak.
Yep.
And the influence it's had on the game.
And one of the trends early in this season has been cover teams.
Yeah.
There's just been one big return. Deadman for Ottawa was the only one in basically 3 weeks of football now. So those cover teams are playing well because we have great returners in a huge field for them to have fun in.
Second down and 2 into the hands of Butler, and it's been quiet for James Butler, especially against the Rough Riders, but he does pick up a big first down there across the 30.
Good kick out block from Barrow right here. He gets the kickoff and then kick out, and then watch how James Butler can just squeeze through that hole between tackle and guard. It actually ends up being tackle and center because Wood Mancy gets out in the second level.
First and 10. Hamilton at the 33. That is caught. And Tyler Chernowski with his first catch in this game. And does have the catch. The ball did come out. He got it again, but second down coming up.
Roland Milligan makes a tackle here. He came in after 2 weeks leading the defense in tackles. And what I just really like this player. This is one of my favorite
Pressure coming and forced to get rid of it quickly, looking for Tim White, but that wasn't close enough for White to have a shot at catching it as Bo was under fire right away. Third down coming up.
Well, and this is really important. Not what happens is fact that they miss here, but you could see there was a little tension, a little more tension. Bo thought that Tim White was going to be a little more inside on that hook, and he threw it to a spot. And it's real important that those two players don't get angry at each other and start getting frustrated.
We need us more.
The punt by Constantinu. And that's Alford inside the 20. He's got something going. Picks up some blocks. Gets the edge. Mario Alford. Here he goes across midfield.
He heard me.
Ticat zone. Talk about punt returning.
Yeah, he heard me. The cover teams were doing well. He said, well, wait a second. Give me the ball.
We'll change that in a hurry. And that's a guy that's been known to do it. Alford. Biggest return of this game is set up Saskatchewan.
Defensive ways that I've never had a coach the way that Corey Mace does when it comes to his defensive schemes, and said no wonder he's already seeing success here in Saskatchewan. When I asked Corey Mace about Barlow, his face lit up and he goes, my boy BB. I love that guy. And both of them said the same thing to me, that they loved going to work every single day in Toronto because of one another.
It's an interesting story, and to think of all the excellent defensive linemen the Argos had in that defense last year, and a team that went 16-2, and that defense coached by Corey Mace, but Barlow had a breakout season. Shea Patterson still at quarterback for the Riders, chased down and forced to throw it away on first down. 2nd and 10 coming up.
Well, there's been a couple of those plays. It looks like Mark Mueller is trying to get Patterson on the run and uses athleticism to their advantage, but the coverage downfield has made it really tough for him to try to fit in some throws on the run. And you see now Trevor Harris warming up. You know, I wondered about that fumble by Bo Levi Mitchell down at the 5-yard line, and if they don't fumble and they score there, do we see Trevor Harris earlier?
Well, that would have made it with a 1-point conversion, a 4-point game. It still stands at 11 right now for the Riders. Patterson, little high, intended there for Kean Schaefer-Baker, but couldn't quite get to it with Destin Talbert following up. And so another incompletion. 2 for 8 now is Patterson subbing in for Trevor Harris.
Yeah, but if you're Corey Mace, you're saying, well, it's the right area, and we saw with Britt with the umbrella and the fact that you can see a little bit of rain in that slow motion look. I mean, Kean Schaefer-Baker has a huge catch radius. He's a big target with long arms, but it was just a little outside of that radius.
And so Korsak is to punt. Had a great one last time around. Got a nice hop. Pin them in, and I believe I saw a flash of lightning. And there is a lightning warning here. Rain is starting to fall, and we do wonder, are they going to be able to play on and finish this game without interruption? There's a question. Here's one for the Ticats, too, and Woods takes it inside the 5. Lawrence Woods does well to get out to about the 9. Good coverage after that punt by Korsak. So once again, Bo Levi Mitchell and the Ticats will start deep in their own zone.
Well, I agree with Milt that Bo Levi Mitchell needs to run a couple of hitch screens to number 12. And just to try and kind of break this, bump the slump, I guess, is a way to say it. Just because the body language is starting to change. You know, they were all supporting each other for the first 2 weeks. But they need him. I mean, he's a big play guy.
He had over 1,200 yards receiving last year. He led the CFL in receiving yards. Tim White. See him at the top there, number 12. 1st and 10. Mitchell looking off to the right, to the flat, to the fullback Tuck. James Tuck getting a couple of touches and a flag coming out on that first down play. Looks like this will be
holding. Hamilton, number 64. It's half the distance to goal. Remains first down.
Pushing the Ticats further back. But Tim White came on in 2021 with the Ticats, new receiver and a breath of fresh air in the CFL. And you see the numbers he came up with. And yeah, Ticats to lead the CFL in receiving, an exclusive list.
I remember this one.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Yeah.
Faced him in the Grey Cup. And you won the game, Saskatchewan did, but that was one of the greatest catches in Grey Cup history by Tony Champion back in that '89 game.
That's quite a list, though.
It sure is, and that is quite a catch. Going up to get it is Dunbar, who came into the CFL the same year White did, coming out of the pandemic break in 2021. A lot of change in the receiving corps for Hamilton that year. Dunbar and White a part of it. They still have the wind at their backs, and it has changed a few times and gusted, but it is definitely at their backs now. When we're getting late third quarter, they'd be against it. It's deflected and picked off. Jameer Thurman still going. 5, touchdown. It's a pick 6 for number 6 as the Riders increase their lead.
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, only Bo knows what Bo saw on that throw, but the throw was intended to Tim White, and I would suggest when you're going to see the replay that he's trying to force it to him a little bit now. And yes, we know that this has become such a big story. It's going to be right here. Tim White's just outside of the right side of your screen, and Bo Levi Mitchell locks in on him. And look at the defenders underneath that play. Tip to Thurman, and away he goes. I mean, looked like he's forcing it a little bit in that one.
So he gets the pick and the touchdown. C.J. Avery, though, another great defensive play. He had the interception when it went off White at the end of the game last week. And Avery has a couple of interceptions so far in his first year with the Riders, but he deflects it, and Thurman takes it, and he takes it all the way in. There's Lawther, point after. And just, you know, you flash back to when the Ticats were threatening to get within 4 points, and so much has changed since then. Well, Thurman had the fumble recovery, you may recall, in the Mitchell fumble. And then now the deflection, the interception. Yes, says thank you to Avery there, getting him the football, and he does the rest.
Avery gets him the football on the tip, and he gets a bit of an escort from a guy who's, well, pretty good at getting after quarterbacks. Watch Micah Johnson on this replay. I mean, you're talking about Thurman. Now watch, you're going to see Lecumbo try to get in there. Look down at the bottom of your screen here. There's Micah Johnson. Now he's going to turn. I got one. Get this guy right here. Kick him out there. There's one block, but I'm not done yet. We got the ball. We're inside of the 20. I got to get another big guy. There's another block and go right up to Bo, even when they're in the end zone. So he gets the tip and the assist from Avery. He gets the escort all the way to the end zone from big number 4. It's too bad about his little arms. But
yeah, I was going to say, he could play D-line, he could play O-line. Who says a defensive lineman doesn't want a chance to throw a block or two as well? Micah Johnson, veteran who started his career with the Calgary Stampeders, had some time in Hamilton between Saskatchewan stints in his 11th season out of Kentucky. And
go back a couple of plays, though. Lawrence Wood should have let that one go in the end zone.
Put him in a hole.
Yeah.
Woods has it now at about the 12. Final minute, third quarter. And he gets it up to about the 29.
And that's why you give up the point. You know, just to go back to that, you know, the bigger story is Tim White, and just that they're not on the same page at all, these two. And, you know, it's just, he's too good of a player for this to be happening. But you don't give up the single there. You're backed up like that. 2 plays later, they score on a pick 6. I mean, I've seen it so many times. Field position.
It's been unraveling for Hamilton in this second half. A deep look down the right. There's coverage there and a chance for Patman with lots of coverage in there, including Marcus Sales and also DeMarcus Fields, and they're covering Patman.
Yeah, Sales getting into the lineup, and that's one of the changes, along with Nelson Lecumbo going to safety, and Lecumbo was playing corner. They wanted to get Marcus Sales, former BC Lion, on the roster. And
second down. Mitchell further down, deflected and intercepted again deflected pick. And this time it is Fields that has it. Going bad to worse for the Ticats. Down 18 points, 12 seconds to go in this third quarter. Range at fours.
Yeah, and so many times, Rod, we've talked about when a quarterback breaks contain. When the quarterback, even if he's not known for his running, breaks contain, DBs are in a bind. They don't know whether to come up and tackle him or stay back in their coverage. That time Sales stayed back in coverage because it's Bo, because of knowing the video and that he doesn't really want to run. Even if he does get outside, he stays back underneath that, and he's there for the tip.
So back-to-back interceptions by the Riders. One went for a touchdown, and this time they set up inside the Ticat zone at the 54. Last play, third quarter. A.J. Ouellette on the carries. He takes it down to the 50, but they'll head to the final 15, and the Riders are most certainly in charge right now. Defense taking charge. They try to improve to 3-0 in this home opener, Mosaic Stadium. Fourth quarter coming up on TSN. And Saskatchewan's defense really picked it up.
Well, they did. 4 turnovers to 1 is a big part of the story in that third quarter, and so is Trevor Harris. And Trevor Harris, when we went to break there, went out to pump up his teammates and be part of it. I don't think he's coming in yet, and it's probably because of the play of the defense and the fact that the Hamilton offense just can't get any traction because of the way they're playing. So they don't have to take the risk to put him out just yet. Shea Patterson hasn't really moved the ball, as you mentioned, but the real good news is that he could go out and that it was questionable as to whether or not he would return.
That is a good sight. See him still involved there and look like he could head out on the field. But unlike the first 2 games, when the Riders trailed heading into the final 15, they have an 18-point lead now. Very different scenario for Saskatchewan here in the home opener. Patterson still at QB. Sales chasing him. He rolls. He throws. He completes it, too, to Jaron Stearns. He waited it out. He found a receiver and a first down for the Riders.
Well, the receivers for the Riders right now with Patterson in the game have got to kind of think about their scramble rules, because this is how he's playing. I mean, every single time he drops back into that pocket, he's trying to escape it, get on the run, and get outside. So get the scramble rules. If you're a deep receiver, come back. If you're a short receiver, go deep. I'm sure Corey Mace reminded them of that.
So Patterson getting some playing time here. That's his 3rd completion. He's 3 for 9 now, but that's a first down for Saskatchewan. And they're at the Hamilton 39 now with the breeze in their backs, handing off. And lots of room to rumble for A.J. Ouellette. It's down. Dexter Lawson finally stops him. But it's another first down for the green and white.
Ryan Sevier gets a kick out. Looks like Logan Furlan gets a big block. Furlan right here. You're going to get Sevier from the backside. What a hole for A.J. Ouellette. Just nice block, big on big. There's a kick-out block on the pull from Ryan Sevier playing for Philip Blake tonight. And sometimes it's just one run that gets you really kick-started, and maybe that's it for Ouellette.
This is a breakout game with Saskatchewan for Ouellette. He has 13 carries for 71 yards. That's more than he had rushing in the previous 2 games when he had 64 in 2. At the 20. Handing off, going nowhere. That has set up a draw. But the Ticats aren't biting on that as they push him back. And you're right about Ouellette, though. Does look to be limping himself a little bit, despite the success he's had on the field tonight.
Well, much better, much more what we're used to with Ouellette. And you know, it's quite the luxury for Corey Mace to be able to substitute Ryan Sevier up at guard for Philip Blake.
The veteran former Calgary Stampeder signing on with Saskatchewan, and yeah, getting the start tonight after Blake got hurt last week in Hamilton. 2nd and 13. Ratkovich had been in.
Saskatchewan.
And a timeout called by Corey Mace now. 20.
I was going to say, Rod, he's had to come from behind the first 2 weeks and pull it out in the fourth quarter, or the fifth quarter that we're really calling it now, which is the final 3 minutes of a CFL game. And then this one, a comfortable lead, although no lead is really safe in this game. He knows it.
He's seen enough of that. Yeah, 13 points Edmonton led in the fourth. And it was, I think, 21-3. Saskatchewan outscored Edmonton, and that were 21-7 in that final quarter. And then last week, a 10-point lead for the Ticats, and dramatic finish too. They needed the field goal and the touchdown. They got the field goal first, and there were just a couple of minutes left when they drove the field, starting at their 22. And some big plays along the way as they got the Schaefer-Baker touchdown, the point after to tie the game at 30. And I think they were thinking overtime when all of a sudden a quick turnover, interception, a chance to win it. Hence 2-0. Patterson still in, and a 2nd and 13 now. They're at the Hamilton 23. They're up by 18, and they're looking for more. Trying to put this thing away. 12:16 on the clock. Out it goes to Ouellette. Running again after the catch and diving too. Trying to get that first down. They had 13 to go. Got awfully close, if not making it.
After every run, he's getting up a little hobbling a little, I should say, and this was a nice little swing pass. Get him out on the edge, and look at the effort to get to the marker.
He got it. First down as the rain is coming down here at Mosaic. Great effort. A.J. Ouellette, first year after signing on as a free agent, the former Toronto Argonaut running back, enjoying life out here in Saskatchewan. All the missed tackles that he forced with the Argos last year, most in the Canadian Football League. From the Hamilton 9, it's a 1st and goal. Ouellette again. He gets it down to about the 7.
Shea Patterson had the option to pull the ball there. That's one of those riding the side plays. Quarterback rides the tailback with the ball in his chest, and if he lights the corner, he'll pull it. Boy, he had an open edge there. I wonder sometimes I'm going to talk to these quarterbacks about how many times they actually give the ball away and then go, oh, wrong choice.
Wish they had that back. That's a sign of how windy things are getting here now. My goodness. Trying to keep the tents up. 2nd and goal, Hamilton 7. Patterson tried to take off up the middle, and Sales wraps him up. So 3rd down field goal situation coming up here for the Ticats.
I like the call from Mark Mueller with an athlete like this, and he's upset because he thought he had a great play call there, but it was a better reaction to it by Sales.
And field goal unit coming out for the Riders, I should say, looking to put 3 more on the board, make it a 28-7 game. Casey Sales, break up ring with Winnipeg, and
Brett Lowther told Britt at halftime on his way into the locker room that this wind down here is worse as he's seen in a long time. So.
And crazy, not just for how strong it is, but how unpredictable the direction is too. We saw that on his field goal try late in the half, where it started one way and ended up the other. That one is straight through. No problem for Lowther that time around. As the Riders do indeed add to their lead. It is raining. Trying to get this game complete.
Mosaic Stadium, and before we continue, just want to shout out and a happy birthday wish to Rod Smith's mother, Shirley, watching every game that Rod has done. Did a great job last night in Toronto. I'm glad you made it in time, partner, and happy birthday, Shirley. 95 years old today.
On behalf of my mom, I thank you. Love you, Mom. Happy birthday. But that's very nice. And yeah, she's watching. Absolutely. She watches the games that you do as well.
Well, we were on the phone before the game kicked off, and she said, I've watched every game that my son has done.
Oh, my dear mother, watching in Calgary, and yes, very happy birthday. Thank you for that. Here in the fourth quarter now, Hamilton.
Pass interference, Saskatchewan number 4. It's a 10-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
And Micah Johnson, you don't see him blocking a lot, of course, as a defensive lineman. We showed that earlier, but you don't see him get PI very often either.
Well, he grabbed James Butler. He grabbed James Butler trying to escape out of the backfield. He's down in the pit here, and there's Butler. Butler's going to come up to the line of scrimmage almost like he's going to check for a block, and then he wants to release, and that's when Micah Johnson grabs him.
Oh my my goodness, coming right in, and that's Keandre Smith, who's had a quiet night, and he is greeted right away, but the player that got him remains down on the field. As the medical staff rushes out, Keandre Smith caught the ball, and a Rider defender down in front of him right away. Marcus Sales, who's still down on the field. Marcus Sales getting attention from the medical staff. Well, takes two on a knee for Marcus Sales, who remains down in the field. Just one more look, Len, at what happened in the contact made to the head from Keandre Smith.
Yeah, this angle will show you. It looked at first like he got all shoulder pad, but the knee clearly hits the side of the head of Sales, and his teammates reacted immediately to get the training staff out. And now they're just being real careful not to, make sure his neck and back is okay. And
Corey Mace out there too, and the applause coming with Sales sitting up, conscious, and it looked like just the right knee. Keandre Smith just catching the ball and turning.
Yeah, it was a bang sort of play. It certainly wasn't Smith's fault.
Oh no, not at all.
That's great.
That's great to see.
Good stuff.
Marcus Sales, veteran CFL defensive back, and has a smile too for his head coach. Starting in Winnipeg and then had some great years with the BC Lions, and let go and signed on by Saskatchewan his first year with the Riders.
And Marcus Sales, that's great. That's good news. Marcus Sales is 5'9", like 176, but he plays big. I mean, all his time in the CFL, we've watched him play physical football. He does not shy away from the hits, and look at the tackle totals, over 300 in his time in the league.
And that's great to see him head off. Nelson Lacombo goes to the corner. Jaden Dahlke comes in at safety with Sales out of the game. 1st and 10. And that is caught by Butler. Gets up to midfield, and a second down coming out. A flag is out.
Major foul roughing the passer, Saskatchewan number 91. 15 yards at the end of the play, and an automatic first down.
Anthony Lanier in on Bo Levi Mitchell.
Take a look. There's Lanier. Gets in the back. Well, he goes low on Bo Levi Mitchell. There also may have been a horse collar tackle to Malik Carney.
So the ball moves up to the Rider 40 now. 9:30 on the clock in the 4th quarter. 1st and 10. Shamar Bridges down catching the football inside the 35. Not able to get up and carry on. But a 2nd and 3 after that 7-yard pickup. And a state of urgency for a team trailing by 21 points. Second down, and not that time for Tim White. So Mitchell goes to White again, but a little bit off and just towards the sideline.
It was, but again, I think we'll take another look, but to me, it hit the hand of Tim White's. Now, I know Deontay Williams cuts underneath and maybe distracts him, but we've seen him make that catch.
Sketchable football.
Routinely.
I was just going to say, based on the Tim White standard that we've seen, his excellence in the Canadian Football League, he's made catches like that before.
Absolutely.
So 3rd down, and they got to go.
The last play
Down
automatically
21.
by command center, roughing the passer. Saskatchewan number 91. 15 yards, automatic first down.
Wow. Another roughing the passer back-to-back on Anthony Lanier.
So they won't have to go on a 3rd down. They get another first by penalty.
Well, the first one was just in the regular play unfolding. I think this was just a bad decision by Lanier. The first one was he was getting thrown down, and you still have to control your body, so it was the correct call, but that was the hit that wasn't necessary, and it was to the head.
Down to the 18, first down. Ticats desperately needing to find the end zone. Mitchell, he dumps it off to Smith. Keandre Smith cuts inside at the 15, gets it down about the 10. Looks like a first and goal coming up here. Depending on the spot of the football here for Hamilton.
How about that move? That was a nice move. Come back inside. Little shake and bake out there. He started in the backfield, so he's the check down guy, not James Butler. He gets it and then watch this move. Plant that right foot and back inside on the combo.
Not quite a first down. Just about a yard shy here. So second down coming up just inside the 10 for the Ticats. Mitchell to throw again. Down near the end zone. It's caught as Bridges took a pop, but he hangs on to the football, and that will be first and goal.
Urgency now from Bo Levi Mitchell. You know, normally you'd see a team offensively go and get that 1 yard, get a new set of downs, and then throw it towards the goal line, but they're fighting the clock and the Rider defense now.
Halfway through the fourth quarter. The last scored points and a touchdown to Bridges late in the first half. Handing up. Butler is met right away.
Whoa.
Big Miles Brown coming in and says this door is closed.
Carney moves inside, and he's usually the end, and I think they just got a counting issue up front for the blocking assignments for the Ticats on this play, because Brown steps up unblocked and catches James Butler in the backfield.
And Butler is still down on the field now.
Malik Carney took 2 blockers out to open up that lane for Brown. Watch 11 here. Cuts underneath, and Brown just comes right off his backside into the backfield.
Butler never stood a chance on that one. Greeted by big number 90 there coming in unblocked. And Butler is still down getting some attention right around the 5. Winces as he gets up, but does get up on his own. And heading to the sideline now with a second and goal coming up, now back at the 4 of the Riders. Crowd picks up. Encouraging that defense. It's been so good, especially in the second half of this game. Second down. To the right, deflected, nearly picked again on another deflection, but it's incomplete. Third down coming up.
Trying to see who the intended receiver. I see Tim White in the slot there, and Bridges outside. I think White on the out was what Bo Levi wanted there. It was tipped at the line, and LeCombo had the best chance at it.
Malik Carney got the hands up. He tipped it. Nearly a pick for LeCombo. So here we go. Third down. 4 receivers to the left, 2 to the right. They got to go. End zone. No. Turnover on downs and a flag coming out. The late flag coming out. The intended receiver was Bridges.
We're having a long talk about what this penalty was.
Pass interference, Saskatchewan number 21. It's an automatic first down.
Now, I'm gonna suggest that Rider fans are gonna look at this play and they'll say, didn't this happen to Jamal Peters for Hamilton early? They challenged it and didn't get it. If the ball is tipped, you can make that contact. The command center is telling us that they don't think it was tipped, or the guys on the field didn't think it was. It was super close, and it looked like it was.
And Antti Litre punches it in for the Hamilton touchdown. Litre gets it in. To cut it to a 2-touchdown lead.
Another flag on the play. We'll let them sort it out. Here's the touchdown. Litre takes the snap, so no handoff needed. Across the plane, but going back to that play, if the ball is touched at the line of scrimmage, the contact's irrelevant there from the DBs from Lacombo. But if the guys on the field that were right there said it wasn't touched and it just came out of his hand wobbly, then that contact was a little early. Now, again, I would suggest that the one on Jamal Peters with that little bit of early contact, if we start calling those little bumps penalties, pass interference penalties, it's setting a precedent that I don't think many are going to like.
We saw one of those last night. The Argos didn't like, and Deshaun Amos. And then the earlier one that was overturned tonight after command center looked at it. So the point after Mark Leggio, that was an 11-play, 70-yard drive. And still a lot of work to do for the Ticats. It's a 2-score game, down 14. Away from winning their home opener and improving to 3-0. But Hamilton has cut into the lead. It's now 28-14. Still a 14-point edge for the home side as the short kick comes. It is touched before it made it to 10 yards. Yeah. Patrick Burke Jr. falling on it, but he touched it before then, and the flag comes out.
Yeah, I'm surprised that that was the choice. I mean, you're down 2 scores, 6 minutes. You could score twice in 3 minutes. You know, and a 2-and-out with a backup quarterback in there.
The kickoff against Hamilton, number 29. It'll be first down, Saskatchewan.
It's easy to second guess, but I know Scott Milenovich would like better execution on the onside. This has got to go 10 yards before the cover team can touch it. And clearly they do, and that's a penalty in Saskatchewan football in plus territory.
Well, that's the thing now. Over 6 minutes left, but in not getting it, the Riders are set up essentially with the win behind them, possibly in scoring position now, scrimmaging from the 35.
Paul Boudreau didn't even want to look at it on the replay on the big screen.
Their special teams coordinator. So first and 10 now. Riders taking over. Shea Patterson still at quarterback, handing off to A.J. Ouellette, who's having his best day as a Rider. Over 70 yards running and close to 50 in receiving. He's had over 120 yards combined from scrimmage. And this is home debut in the green and white.
Interesting play calling here. Do they just kind of let Shea Patterson run the offense here, or does Mark Mueller want to just keep it on the ground, they have the wind at their back now for a field goal to make it 3 scores.
And a flag coming out afterwards.
You could talk with Trevor Harris about how Mark Mueller's
doing. The 10-yard misconduct penalty against Hamilton, number 15. First down, Saskatchewan.
Well, just one against the Ticats. I think there must be over 100 yards now in penalties. Well, I just got word they're a yard short of 100, but 99's too much. But I had a good talk with Trevor Harris about Mark Mueller and how he's doing as a coordinator, and they love him. The quarterback room loves him. He's in there finding just the smallest sliver of an edge to help the guys execute their offense. They're real excited about the potential of what they can be.
And really earning his stripes with the Calgary Stampeders too, from Regina. And you know, that story's been told. We told it last week with good reason. About the football family. His grandpa, the legend, Ron Lancaster, a legend in these parts, who was head coach the last time Hamilton won the Grey Cup in 1999. And to tell that story about Mark Mueller, who was there as a kid with the 99 Ticats to be with his grandpa. First and 10 at the 21. Ouellette again driving down towards the 15, gets it.
Well, and the other thing is that, you know, and this is the little thing that's above and beyond. So when Mark Mueller got the job, he calls Bo Levi Mitchell, who has worked with Trevor Harris,
right,
to say, hey, you know, tell me what you think of what he likes and what he doesn't like and things like that. It's a small fraternity, and especially in the offseason. In the regular season, they don't talk as much, but in the offseason, they are reaching out to try and put together the offense that really suited Trevor Harris. And the first 2 weeks of the season showed us just how much it did.
Interesting, all the connections you find along the way in the Canadian Football League. 2nd and 6 now. There's a lot. No, he just got tripped up. It looked like he was about to get up ahead of steam as he gets it down to the 10. And it is a 1st and goal coming up here for Saskatchewan. In command, still up by 14.
Well, and this is the play calling for Coach Mueller here is just keep it on the ground. You got Shea Patterson that could pull it and take it around the edge, possibly with an option to throw it, but probably warning him in his helmet, just saying, hey, conservative,
Timeout,
we're in field goal range. We can make it a 3-score game, worst case scenario, but let's just grind it up and up the middle, run the football, grind down the clock.
With just under 4 minutes to go now, and the Ticats are facing an 0-3 start. As it is now. Frustrating day after, yet despite the loss last week, that was a game that the Ticats can certainly feel that they should have won. A game that at the very least looked to be going to overtime, but yeah, it's been tough, especially for that man, Tim White.
Yeah, going on it's 3 games now. Like, what is going on?
Yeah,
we've got to try to figure that out.
Well, nothing has happened today to settle that question down, that's for sure. The Hamilton 9 now in a 1st and goal. It's back to 45. Grinding down. Look, the story he was asked about back-to-back games against Hamilton. He said, hey, a couple of years ago with the Argos, he faced the Ticats 4 times in 5 weeks or something like that.
Yeah.
So he's used to seeing the Ticats a lot, and he gets it over with early in his first season with the Roughriders.
Well, his best game in a big way wearing a Rider uniform.
Definitely. Enjoying this in his new home, I am sure. A.J. Ouellette, 2nd and goal. He's been getting the ball a lot, especially under these circumstances now as they're just looking to put it away. Patterson handing off. Number 45, who wore 34 with Toronto, but of course no one is ever going to wear a 34 in green and white again. The late legend George Reed at that number, so he goes with 45 with Saskatchewan. The 3-minute warning has been called under threatening skies here at Mosaic, but very much in hand for the Riders up with the Ticats, who are facing 0-3 against the Ottawa Red Black team, encouraged by their opening victory over Winnipeg, but lost decisively in Montreal last Thursday. There's Patterson keeping it. Second effort. Another touchdown for Saskatchewan. And Patterson gets it.
Well, I'm a little, it must be partly to do with the wind. I mean, even though this would be a real chip shot field goal, I'm a little surprised that Corey Mace decided to go for it. I mean, yeah, it's just a yard, but you kick a field goal, which is a chip shot here, you're 3 scores. You don't get it here. It's 2 with a full 3 minutes to go. We've seen that disappear quickly before. In fact, this year we've seen it.
Reflects the confidence he has in his defense right now.
Yeah, you know, and again, it's always easy to be up here, but you know, and look at the result of the play, and the play works, so it's a good call.
It's working on the scoreboard, isn't it? So 34-14, and Lother will try to make it 35. favorite, with the one exception when the wind was just absolutely wild at the end of the half. Hard to fault him for that when it started to the left and then just immediately drifted off and went wide right.
The only guy that I think really had a chance here, because if you keep it to 2 scores, there's still hope for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, is Wilborn off the edge. He has a crack at him, and that's what stopped him. Patterson was short there, but he didn't wrap up. He could get the arms around, wrap up, and then twist off that pile and pull him back, and didn't get that done. Patterson with his second effort, and that seals the deal.
35-14. So close. Last week at Tim Hortons Field, looked like overtime and a walk-off field goal, a 3-point win for the Riders. But you know, after 2 nail-biters for Saskatchewan, Corey Mace can relax a little bit more as this game looked to be in hand for much of the 60 minutes.
Yeah, after the Hamilton score, again, I was a little surprised with the onside kick. The onside kick gave Saskatchewan great field position, wasn't executed very well.
And that one goes back into the end zone as Woods takes the knee. Gives up another 36-14. We had that scheduled for week 4, and noticeably not on that. Saskatchewan Roughriders get a bye and head into that bye at 3-0. Has got to feel pretty good for this team and their new head coach.
Well, in how it's compounded, and I think one thing that Rider fans are really enjoying is an 0-3 start for the Bombers.
Yeah. Which are they enjoying more?
Yeah, I'm
starting
not sure.
3-0 or Winnipeg starting 0-3?
Yeah.
That's a tough question.
I'm on CKRM on the cage here during the week. I tell you what, I'm not sure which they like better.
That's Patman from Mitchell.
But they are enjoying an 0-3 start for the Bombers.
And you consider that they're getting points too. 29 in Edmonton, and then 33 in Hamilton, and then against the Ticats here 36. So averaging over 30 points a game in this small sample size of 3, but looking very good for the first place team in the West Division, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, closing it out now to move to 3-0 with 2.5 minutes on the clock.
Now the defense playing very differently now, and will give a little room to the receivers. And you know, that bye week for Saskatchewan is now excellent timing. I mean, you never know, but this will be great timing for that guy.
Trevor Harris, yeah, that's a great point. Injured in the first half, and the situation certainly allowed for them to keep Patterson in the game and give Harris the break with them up now handily. Yeah, hopefully the start he's had, that everything's okay for Trevor Harris. As Mitchell throws it off to Keandre Smith in the Riders zone, but running out of time. 2:10 is on the clock right now. AJ Ouellette wants to make sure Trevor's looking good in the sideline there. Just like you do, just taking care of make sure my tie's straight, and
Anything you need.
Get that lint off the shoulder.
I'll flag down the cat first. Okay. This is just getting weird between these two. I mean, it really is.
Yeah, that's still something that's got to be sorted out for Hamilton, to be sure.
Another throw goes incomplete in the direction of Tim White. 5 targets tonight, 0 catches for number 12.
That would be stunning in its own right for a 1-game sample, but if you put that together with what happened in weeks 1 and 2, then yeah, that's a challenge right now for Scott Milanovich, of course, for Tim White. Mitchell down near the end zone. Keandre Smith got up and he got in. A quick touchdown. Smith wasn't touched after catching the ball, and he alertly got up and punched it to break the plane. So back to a 2-touchdown game.
Deep in route, good protection, and yeah. See, he wasn't down by contact. He wasn't touched. Smith gets up. Guelph representing again with another touchdown.
And now the onside kick looms larger. We were a bit surprised to see it with over 6 minutes to go, but that'll have to come up. And
well, I was more than a little.
Yeah. 16-point game. So they'll go for 2. See if they can make it 14. No. For Tim White again. And he did have a shot at it. And it goes incomplete. And that's kind of the way it's been so far.
Man. 6 target. Let's see if this is catchable. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that was definitely catchable. Definitely something other versions of Tim White we have seen would catch that ball. So to your point, there's definitely and something that they have talked about wanting to, give him his space, make sure everything's okay, and encourage him that he is just one of the top receivers in the CFL who's having a problem right now.
It happens to the best of them.
Yeah.
I mean, it does. You get into a slump. It's hard to get out of it, and then you start pressing, squeeze the stick a little more, sort of Florida Panthers-ish, and then it compounds. And then the body language changes. And then the body language changes. You're frustrating each other, the quarterback and receiver combination. Now that grows into arguments and discussions that get heated and things like that. And then you're in real big trouble. And I don't think they're there yet. I'm just suggesting that. I don't know.
He needs a game. He needs to get some catches, get his confidence back.
Well, and he had a great week of practice by all accounts. I mean, Scott Milenovich and Bo told us he had a really good week of practice.
Here we go. The onside kick try. Goes 10, goes more than that, bounces up. And it looks like the Ticats had a shot at that one. They say they have it.
Bridges got it.
Bridges. So they got the nice bounce, too. That one by Legia went a bit further, and then once it got loose and on the turf, anybody's ball. And so the offense can come back on, down 16 points.
Katsatonis was the guy who disrupted it. You see number 30 to the right of your screen there. He gets in the way of Schaefer Baker trying to catch it. Bounce off his helmet, I think.
So they need 2 touchdowns, both with 2-point conversions. 1:54 in the clock. And that one intended for Bridges. Got one hand on it, but a bit too far. Falls incomplete. Now, to your point about the final 3 minutes, you call it the 5th quarter.
Yeah.
I recall a game in Ottawa last year. Now, it was a little bit more time than this. It was 2.5 minutes. Red Blacks trailed by 16 against Winnipeg.
Yep.
Got a pick 6 in that situation. Ended up winning that game in overtime. It's not likely. It's not impossible. But Mitchell needs something to happen in a real hurry here. Shorter pass. Bridges has it. First down. 1:44 in the clock.
Yeah, get a new set. And some of the younger guys, and Shamar Bridges is one of them, understand that 5th quarter concept.
Deep ball down the right. And off the hands of Stephen Dunbar with Nelson Lacombo there. Incomplete.
What I mean by that is, like we've seen a couple of times in different teams now that have been right there to win, and then they think they can just walk off the field with 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go, like they've done down in the States for their entire lives, their entire football careers, and then they go, whoa, how is this? They got the ball again, and they're, like you said, you could score 3 times in the final 3 minutes to get one on D.
1.5 minutes. Mitchell throwing again. Patman has it. He's down at the 40. Of another first down. Desmond Patton, new to the Ticats this season. As mentioned earlier, Scott Milanovich knew him, time together in the NFL with Indianapolis.
Okay. Let's see number 12 get one more target just to break this spell.
Mitchell looks further deep. It's intercepted. Rider ball to put it away. Another turnover forced by that Saskatchewan defense, and it is Roland Milligan coming up with the pick for the Riders.
Prior to our game with Calgary a week ago, I had a conversation with their head coach, Dave Dickinson, and he had done some research on turnovers and had said that it has been proven in both leagues that if you turn the ball over 3 or more times, your chance of winning the game drop to 2%. You have a 98% chance of losing the game if you turn the ball over 3 times or more.
And I assume those percentages get even higher if those turnovers directly lead to points, as we saw with that Jameer Thurman pick 6. So that means Saskatchewan scoring points off turnovers too.
Exactly, that opening kickoff.
There's another one.
Next.
Right off the very first play of the game, you're right. Lawrence Woods fumbling it, and that led to the touchdown.
Yeah, one play.
Timeout, Hamilton.
But what a start for Corey Mace, the head coach, new head coach here in Saskatchewan.
And yet to lose 3 games in as they're about to put this one away and go to 3-0. Corey Mace, who was the defensive coordinator with the Toronto Argonauts. You look at the standings on top of the West, ahead of 2-1 BC and the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And I mentioned the bye week they head into, and who do they get after the bye? They emerge right here at Mosaic against his old team, the Toronto Argonauts. That'll be interesting for him and AJ Ouellette, I'm sure, to see the Argos come to town.
And then they're in BC after that.
And then a huge one.
That
We
might
already
be a showdown.
looking ahead to that showdown against the Lions. Given the passion of Rider fans around this league, and you know that's infused with a lot more excitement with this 3-0 start too.
So I think Rider fans can be optimistic about their quarterback. I'm just going to say it that. Now there's going to be some more tests done, I'm sure, and they're going to do a complete examination of everything and all the leg, knee, and everything. So that's going to be done over the next couple days. But that bye week comes at a very good time for Trevor Harris. He's got now 2 weeks to have that settle out and see exactly what the issue is. It looks like he could have gone back in the game. That's really good news.
Well, I mean, here's hoping for the league. I'm not talking about for the Riders, but what Trevor Harris has brought to it. And it was tough to see last year when they had a good start, and it was against the Calgary Stampeders when they had a winning record, and he went down. He was done for the season, and that created a lot of problems for Saskatchewan down the rest of the way. But yeah, this has a different look to see him up and around, and it looked like he could have gone back into this game. They'll answer that one later, but we saw the West standings and Saskatchewan enjoying that spot. It is just a different story for Scott Milanovich back in the CFL as a head coach, and his Ticats now just about falling to 0-3, and a big one against the Ottawa Red Blacks coming up next week, next Sunday.
Yeah, they have they have the Ottawa game, and then they have a couple of tough ones right after that too, BC Toronto. So they got to dig out of their hole.
You see the top of the East, the Alouettes 3-0, the Argos 2-0, and they meet next week. Jamar Bridges, another catch for him, this Ticat rookie who's had a good start to this, his first season, although this, again, in a losing cause as they play it out, but it's a 16-point difference. There's 22 seconds to go on the clock. And despite all the good things we've seen from Bo Levi Mitchell, in particular last week and the first couple of games, completing that one to Litre and a touchdown earlier in the quarter. But for Mitchell, too, who is almost rewriting the book for greatest starts for quarterbacks in CFL history, all he did was win in those early years in Calgary, and this is just a different side for him, something that he hasn't been used to.
Yeah, but you know, he's in a new system and he's had to learn a new way with Scott Milanovich, and And he, you know, the coach told us that he's come a long way in it. Like, he feels like he's way ahead of even Ricky Ray when he was trying to teach Ricky Ray the same system. And so that's the upside. And as we've noted a couple of times, you know, they probably should have won 2 games out of the gate, but didn't, lost them. You are what your record says you are.
And that record says 0-3 for Hamilton, but for Trevor Harris and the Saskatchewan Roughriders, fast out of the gate this time. Their record says 3-0, number 1 in the West after their victory 36-20 over Scott Milanovich's Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Well, they're going to be talking